Hey everybody, this is Nikki Jensen. Welcome to 5 Steps to Stop Stress Eating and Lose Weight Naturally. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this. I really appreciate it. If I could just ask you a few things before we get started, that is to really make sure that everything is put away, that you have cell phones on vibrate or way out of the room, and you have a pen and paper out to take notes, and you're actively listening to this, because I think this is going to be very important for you. And I know that you're going to get some value out of today's webinar. So I just wanted to tell you as well, I'm going to really try to keep this under an hour. And if you can stay with me all the way to the end, I greatly appreciate it. And so once again, my name is Nikki Jensen. I am your host for today's webinar. So that's me. I always say, hey, Nikki who? Who the heck am I? Well, here's a little bit about me. I'm a certified holistic health coach. I specialize in wheat and gluten-free living and cuisine. I help people with losing weight, with celiac disease, food allergies, and I do help people who are newly diagnosed with celiac disease. I'm also called the celiac coach. So the reason I feel like I was born is to help people feel good and live their best life. I honestly think that that's why I was put on the earth, and that my life's mission is to help people feel the best, feel the greatest they've ever been, in their life. I'm a mom of 2. I'm a wife and a recovering workaholic. I say that because I worked 6 jobs to make ends meet and try to make sure I was living out my passion as well. So, now through a series of things that have happened throughout my life in the last 6 or 8 months, I've really transformed my own life through my, through the things that I've done spiritually. So we could talk about that another time. I was a technical editor for Living Wheat Free for Dummies, author and founder of Wheat Free Adventure. We'll get into more about what that is later. I'm a guest blogger for Our Paleo Life. I would love if you check them out. Their website is fabulous, and they're also on all social media. And then I was also featured on Milwaukee's Morning Blend Show. So that's just a little tidbit about me. And so, as we move on, we are going to be talking a lot about stress today. Why are we so stressed? We're stressed because of our jobs, our kids, too many commitments, bad relationships, money, drama, and sometimes you have a hard time coping with life in general, with all these things that are going on. You feel like, I can't cope anymore, I'm throwing in the towel. And, sometimes it's so unfortunate, but, life happens, right? And unfortunately, we can experience death. It is the circle of life. We're born, and then, unfortunately, we pass on. And that can cause a lot of stress on people, as well as the death of a loved one. And especially if they were actively in your life, like a spouse or something like that, it's just that they were so active in your life, it's hard to deal with the life that you now live without them. Okay, so the big question is, and this is why I think you are here today, I know that you are here today, is, how do I fix this? So I'm going to give you 5 steps. These are the 5 things that I boiled down to help cope with stress, to propel you forward into change. So that's number 1 of the 5 steps is to stop thinking. We're always thinking. We're always in our heads. Number 2, step 2, stress less foods. So the foods that we eat are causing us stress. Number 3, movement and exercise. Number 4, adrenal fatigue. And number 5, I'm going to give you some supplements that you can add in that will help you with your stress. Make sure you have a pen and paper out for that. All right, so moving forward. So, step number 1, we're talking about stop thinking so much. And this is such a weird concept for a lot of people to grasp just because we're supposed to think. Thinking is good, right? Without our thoughts, how would we be able to do things in life? How would we be able to, move forward and live on a day-to-day basis? That's not what I'm talking about as far as, thinking critically about a situation or, thinking critically, in regards to work or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this overload over here. So this is the wedding brain. This is from Doomed for Happiness blog spot. And I just thought this was very clever because look at all of the things that this wedding brain has to take on. But replace those things with the things you have in your own life. Kids and, commitments and jobs and after school things and homework and, and you also have this thing that to be perfect, that we have to do all these things for our kids and we have to do all these things for our career, just to make it, just to be successful. And that burns us out real fast. Okay. So I want to just say, stop thinking and breathe. Take a breath. And if we can all just practice just taking a breath right now while we're on the call, let's just go ahead and do that, okay? So we're just going to take a deep breath in through our nose, and we're going to let it all out through our mouth. So let's do that now. So deep breath in, and let it out. Get some oxygen to your brain and start to feel more relaxed. I know that just, relaxed me, just taking a deep breath and just slow down. And that's something that we can apply toward our lives every single day. So I'm going to go deeper into what does it mean to stop thinking. And then how do we stop thinking? So what does this concept mean? What is this thinking thing? So it's that little voice inside of your head that causes us grief and pain. That little voice. You hear it all the time, every single day. It gives us a fake sense of reality. And that, I don't know if you know this, but that little voice is just an illusion inside your head. And not all that we think is the truth. Not all that we think is the truth. And what I mean by that is because we think it doesn't mean that it has to be our reality. For example, when we have something that we're upset about, our head over-exaggerates the situation, whether it's something that you didn't say to your spouse because in that moment you were pissed off at him or her for, not listening to you by, let's just say you told them to go wash the car. Well, then they come back and the car's not washed. Well, then that adds on to all the things that you've been telling them to do, but they never listen to you, and then you go inside your head. So instead of verbalizing the fact that this is something that upsets you, the communication goes inward, and we start to have a conversation with ourselves. And the conversation can go like, he never listens to me. I'm always the one to do everything around here. I'm always the one to, do all the laundry. I have to cook, I have to clean, and he doesn't do anything, or she doesn't do anything. And that voice creates an energy. And from there, we don't express that energy, and it becomes a part of our could become a part of our an illness or sickness later on when we have trapped energy. That's why Reiki is so good, to get that flowing inside of our body, out of our body, really. So that inner voice adds more noise to the outdoor noise, and it makes us feel more anxious. So that trapped energy causes anxiety. And what I mean by that is, let's just say that you have a young child, and you're on your phone, or you're kind of in deep thought because of that situation with your husband or wife, and your son or daughter's going, "Mommy, mommy, 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 mommy," and then finally you're so in your head, you go, "What?" Because it just sounded so, there was so much noise, and it was so irritating. And you couldn't respond at that given moment. And it just becomes more of a nuisance when we're so much inside of our head. So how do we stop thinking? Well, for one, we can concentrate on our thoughts and notice what we're saying to ourselves. So in the example with our husband or our wife that didn't wash the car, you're evaluating yourself. You're evaluating what you're saying to yourself. So instead of going, okay, as soon as you recognize that you're going inward and saying, well, gosh, I do everything around here, that's your ego. That's the ego speaking, saying, I need to boast myself up. I need to just make sure that I'm taken care of first, and everybody else is wrong. And, if we can pay attention to the words that we are speaking to ourselves, then we can nip that in the bud. And you can start saying to yourself, well, you know what? He actually does X, Y, and Z, and he does this and this and this and this, and I should probably tell him that I'm upset, and how do we move forward to fix this situation? So it's our communication. It's how we communicate with each other that will quiet your mind. You can quiet the mind through meditation. I know a lot of people are intimidated with meditation by that, just because they think that they're doing it wrong, or that they just feel like, there's a certain way that that they don't, whatever, they don't know about it enough, or whatever. So it's so simple. It's just so easy to do. But anyways, we're talking about stress, not meditation. When you read and write more, that decreases our thinking. It gets it out of your system, releases that energy. If you journal each morning, get those thoughts flowing, get that creativity going, it decreases those bad thoughts. Ask yourself to think. Typically, it goes away. So what I mean by that, ask yourself to think, typically that it goes quiet. Saying to yourself, what am I thinking now? So if I ask you, what are you thinking now? The mind will go quiet. It will be blank for about 17 seconds. And lastly, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget your breath. It's the most powerful tool that you have. Okay, moving forward. Certain foods can diminish stress, and certain foods cause stress. So the foods that cause stress, processed foods, such as frozen dinners, artificial sweeteners, breads, cakes, cookies, etc., fast food, sugar, caffeine, high sodium foods. You want to stay far away from those, okay? And if you don't know how, ask, okay? Foods that decrease stress. These are raw, alive foods such as vegetables and nuts and seeds. Good fats. We want to feed our brain with fat. Avocados and grass-fed beef and pastured eggs. Raw chocolate. I think chocolate is such a great food because for one, it's an aphrodisiac, and the other thing is that it's an anti-cancer. It's a fantastic superfood. And there's a company called Pasha that I just absolutely love. I did a Freebie Friday giveaway with this chocolate a couple weeks ago, and it's just a great company. Just look that chocolate up. It's called Pasha. Another one is green tea. It has an amino acid called theanine, and that helps with reducing stress. And I know that green tea has caffeine, so I'm saying, try to avoid caffeine, but at the same time, hey, take a little bit in. The theanine will actually counteract the caffeine, so it won't really affect your stress level. And to drink chamomile tea on a daily basis will decrease your stress. Okay, so those are the foods to add into your diet. The next thing that we want to talk about is get moving. You have got to move. That energy, that stuck energy needs to flow out. You need to sweat it out. You need to release those toxins. It's so important. Now, I'm not a huge fan of exercise. I'm just going to be totally honest there. But I know I have to do it. And I do things that I love to do, which is yoga and Pilates and Zumba. And I love to walk. I hate running, so I rarely do it. I like to swim, but to be honest, I rarely do that too. I really am not very good or coordinated on a bike, so if you are, good for you. And hiking is also not my thing, so those are just examples for you. So just remember, do something that you love, or else it will feel like work. And when it feels like work on top of work on top of work, why are you going to do it? You want to do something that brings you pleasure. Those are the things that you're going to stick with. The idea is to sweat and release toxins and to minimize your thoughts and get those endorphins flowing. All right, so this is very important, adrenal fatigue. So our adrenals are such an important part of our health, and those are the two little glands that are on top of the kidneys. And here's why they're so important. They send the fight or flight signals out to the bodies to alert there's danger out there, okay? Important hormone secreting organ. It's connected with the nervous system and regulates stress in the body. Without the adrenal glands, they're such an important gland. They regulate our hormones in our body. And if we are constantly overloaded with stress, we burn those adrenals out. That's why it's called adrenal fatigue. And I would have to say that most of us have adrenal burnout because of our, stress levels these days. Now, back in the day in the hunter-gatherer world, we were trying to fight off different things out in the, when we were hunting. Big animals trying to attack us. That was our fight or flight mode. We had to say, either I'm going to bolt out of here and get out of the situation fast, which, the adrenals give us like superhuman power. We can, fight for our lives and become strong as ever, or we're going to, run like hell, which our adrenaline, is a hormone that secretes, that gets the blood flowing and your heart pumping. Unfortunately, these days, our heart is pumping, the adrenaline is going because we have deadlines, we have traffic, we have, whatever is going on in our lives is causing that adrenaline to pump out and causing adrenal fatigue because we're never lowering that stress. So I say, why adrenal fatigue? Because we have too much trauma in your life, leads to overstimulating your nervous system and burns out the adrenal function. And constant stress leads to adrenal burnout. All right. So how does this affect you? What will you feel how do you know if you have adrenal fatigue? So one, it makes you feel like you aren't able to cope with life. So if you're one that says, I just can't deal with this anymore, I'm done. Well, that statement just said, hey, you have adrenal burnout. Yeah, I have adrenal fatigue. All right, so that's one sign. Another thing is that if you feel tired all the time, if you have no sex drive any longer, you're just too tired, and you just never feel, up for, sex or whatever it is. That also is a big sign that your adrenals are burnt out. If you have high blood pressure, that's also a sign. Slow metabolism, if you're hungry all the time, and if you crave sugar and carbs for comfort. And I say for comfort because it's not just your normal craving, during your cycle or whatever. This is, you need to feel comforted. You need to feel something, to fill a void in your life. All right. So this is what this is the last slide as far as our 5 steps. This is the last step because I'm going to give you some suggestions that I feel will help you cope with adrenal fatigue and stress. So here's the suggested supplements. And I just want to tell you that if you need to get these evaluated by a professional, I highly recommend that. Only because I have to say that. And so these are my suggestions, and you don't have to take it. Take it or leave it. So ashwagandha is a Ayurvedic herb that helps with daily stress. It's used for reducing inflammation, anxiety, chronic liver disease, menstruation, and fertility issues. So it has a wide, spectrum of all the things that it can help you with. It's a fantastic herb. Most of us are, nowadays, because of the American diet, because we eat so many grains, we are so depleted in magnesium, and it's such a vital nutrient that we need to have a lot of magnesium. Not only because it excretes waste, but because it helps maintain hormones in our body. Okay, valerian root is also an herb that helps with sleeping and anxiety, depression, and calming the nervous system. It's a very stinky herb, I'm not going to lie. Once you open that bottle, you're going to be like hit with a horrific smell. And, but hey, if you can get past that and just take it, it's worth it. Vitamin B and pantothenic acid is very essential for adrenal fatigue and stress relieving. Okay, so are you ready to take charge of your stress eating? Are you ready to change it? Because you're listening to this right now. Either you're going to stay the same in the state that you're in, or you're going to propel yourself into something new. You're going to go into a different direction, and that is your choice. So, and I say this is a great little cartoon because life is what happens to me or what I make happen. What I make happen. So you're saying, you're giving yourself the power to say yes. The power to say, I am worth investing in myself and for me to feel better. And there is really, no greater power that you can give yourself than health. Without your health, you're nothing. It's just the way it is. You want to spend your life being sick or stressed out. I don't even know if that's a life worth living. But that's up to you. So I'm going to give you a couple options here. So one, you can do this by yourself, or you could do it with support. Okay, so when you're dealing with stress by yourself, all by yourself, you can, it can be difficult. I couldn't do it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I could not. When I had all this stress, I was just working one job at the time, and I had, a couple little ones at home. And, I couldn't handle a lot of things because, for one, my diet was completely out of whack. And I was so inside my head, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't trained on how to help myself. So here's a couple of things that you can do to manage your stress on your own. So one, you can go to the doctor and you can see what they can prescribe. Maybe this is what you've already have done. Maybe this is why you're here. So they're either going to diagnose you with something, or they're going to suggest something to you to say this is what you can do to decrease the stress, or they're going to prescribe you medication. I highly recommend that you read a couple of books. And the one book that really changed my life is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Two phenomenal books. And then try the supplements and see what happens. I do think that some of us can, manage our stress on our own with our own research, but many of us cannot, and I am one of those people. So dealing with stress with support. This is the perks that you can have with support. You can reach out to anyone or reach out at any time when you need to talk through stress. You learn to manage life stressors without medication, food, or substances. How many people come home after a stressful day of work and, pop open that beer can, beer or wine or whatever it is so you can numb yourself, so you can just forget about all your worries. Well, we're going to work through that to where you won't need a substance to make you feel like you have to go to turn to something else. You're going to have friends to uplift you, believe in your success, which is huge, and empower you. You can also learn from other people's experiences. You can reach out and help others as well. And you know exactly how they're feeling, so when you can help someone in need, that changes your life as much as it changes theirs. So I believe in you 100%, and I am committed to your success. So I like this quote: don't limit yourself. Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. You can go as far as your mind lets you. What you believe, remember, you can achieve. It's so important. Your success is a big part of my own success. And if you talk to any of my prior clients, they will tell you, I am in this to get you where you need to be in life. It's why I was born. So I want to do this together. And this is what I'm offering for just you being here, being present, and listening to this webinar right now. You're going to get 6 weeks of group coaching calls. You're going to get all access to Wheat-Free Adventure. You're going to get 2 hours coaching sessions with me, one-on-one. You're going to get access to a private Facebook group. And you're going to get unlimited email access with me. And then you're also going to get 100% support. So there are 2 websites. You can check out Wheat-Free Adventure if you're not exactly sure what that is. It is my weight loss to wellness program. It's going to help you with the food portion of stress. So remember earlier in the webinar I talked about, food can cause us more stress. Well, if that is an issue and most of the time it is in life, I'm going to teach you ways on, how to eat better, how to add in different foods that are going to stop the cravings and propel you further into change. It's a 6-week program. That's where we're going to have 6 weeks of group coaching calls as well. So and you're going to get all of this for $79.97. But not only that, because you're patient enough to be on this call with me, I'm going to give you 10% off. 10% off of $79. So it takes it to like, what, $71 or something like that. Something ridiculous. It's super cheap. And I can't even tell you how much change you're going to get from this. You can't even imagine what's going to happen into your life. So once you sign up, once you say yes, we will begin working together and get you where you want to go. So last but not least, I want to thank you so much. I am in deep, deep gratitude for you, and I hope nothing but the best. If we do not move forward, further today, and I hope that you can continue to, be active on Facebook. I really hope that you reach out to me and send me a message. I love emails. I love people who, comment on Facebook. I'm very active on social media, Twitter, Facebook, I'm on Pinterest. It's endless. So check out NikkiJensen.com and WheatFreeAdventure.com and see what we are up to. And here is the link to register for the package. I really hope that you get started today. The package is such a great deal, for less than $80 for 6 weeks, 2 sessions with me. I just feel like, honestly, you really can't go wrong with this. And if you have any questions at all, of course, I'm always here for you. Please email me at Nikki@NikkiJensen.com. That's Nikki@NikkiJensen.com. The link to register, I'm going to keep this up for a little while, but I will also post this, on the web page as well. So, but once again, it's http://bit.ly/VQASR8. That's the link to register for today's package. Okay, if you have any questions at all, please email me. I love to hear from you, and I love to hear what you thought about this webinar as well. You help me, change as well. So, and if you could help me improve, fantastic. I'm always welcome and open to those things. All right, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. Take care. Bye-bye.